Now, one of the things that I want to be upfront about is I have identified as a tomboy most of my life. I grew up with boy cousins. We grew up watching WCW, WWF. We were clotheslining each other off of furniture, trying to imitate Ric Flair and Sting and Hulk Hogan and the Earthquake and the Undertaker and all those big ass dudes, right? They were spinning me around like a helicopter and dropping me and jumping on top of me. Like, we were beating the hell out of each other. Climbing trees in Granny's backyard. Like, that was what I experienced. And then I grew really fast. So I'm 5'4". I've been the same height since I was like 11 or 12 years old. I grew really fast physically in my shape as well. So I've had the same curves since I was about that age. And that made me feel really uncomfortable. I just want to be honest about that, because I know a lot of women struggle with that. It made me feel really uncomfortable because of the excess attention that I got from unhealthy men around me. I'm going to just leave that there. We're going to keep it moving. And so what I did was covered up, right? I typically opted for baggier clothes, sweats, leggings with long t-shirts. And even when I became a fitness trainer in my 20s, because yes, I was a whole certified fitness trainer and a massage therapist, so I was in shape. I could handle my own with just about any dude in the gym at that point, like running, jogging, exercise classes, kickboxing, all of it, right? I was good. But I still covered up. So I would walk in the gym with leggings and a t-shirt on and a sweatsuit on top of that when it was cold. And one of the trainers, he called me out one day. He was like, "Jay," I said, "What?" He said, we still know you got a body, right? Like, all that shit ain't covering it up. We see you." And that really hit home for me, because he had never said anything inappropriate to me. He had never hit on me. He never made me feel uncomfortable. And so it was different to hear a guy, "Yeah, okay, we see what you got and you're still good. You're still safe," right? That's basically what he was trying to say to me. And so I started to be more aware of how I was hiding myself. It had become such second nature. Just being honest, I didn't even think about it anymore. I just did it. So from that moment, I think I was maybe 23, 24. From that moment, I became intentional about working to be comfortable in my body. Not just healthy and fit physically, but healthy emotionally, comfortable, safe in my body, feeling protected in my skin, if that makes sense. And I know it will for some of you guys, okay? And so it's been, I'm 46 now. It's been a journey. It's been 2 decades. And I still work on it. I still find myself, because of some unhealthy men in society, I still find myself having to work on that periodically to make sure that I'm not changing myself or hindering myself or hiding myself for the sake of other people's comfort. So I'm gonna pause right here and insert this. I'm not going to get deep in it, but this lends itself to the conversation that we often have of, why does society tell women how to protect themselves but doesn't tell men how to behave better and be more emotionally mature and not act like animals, right? So unpack that at a different time. We will later. But for now, it deserves a mention, because this is why a lot of women don't feel comfortable in their sensuality and or expressing themselves sexually through their movement, their clothing, their interactions publicly with how they appear, right? And I'm gonna pause right here because it's about to get loud on this trail, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So let's finish this conversation. And y'all, like, real talk, this is just my life, and I'm inviting y'all into it. This is how I manifest. So, like I said, a lot of us as women have either covered ourselves up for different reasons, because those were mine, but yours may have been spiritual, religious, community focused, family focused, or other experiences that you had, right? It varies, and there's no right or wrong in this. But I want to call this out in the conversation that I'm having with you all on this channel about manifesting and inviting it into your daily life, because your sensuality and how you express it is important. Now, there are probably going to be some men that watch this video, and I know that it can still help you guys, even if nothing else, to help you understand how your daughters, your wives, girlfriends, sisters, moms, women in your life that you love and care for feel, what they experience. And you may be able to take from it and utilize some of it for yourself. But I am specifically talking to the ladies today. So, considering all that I've said so far, I want you to ask yourself this question. Where are you hiding yourself? Either emotionally and mentally when it comes to your sensuality and sexuality. Because they're different. They're different parts of you. They're different layers of you. They're different pieces of your self-expression, okay? And I'm not just talking about sexuality when it comes to your preference. It's heterosexual, gay, lesbian, however you may identify. I'm talking about sexuality in your appetite, your desire for it, your experience of it, the inclusion of it in your daily or regular life. Because you may not be getting it daily. You may not want it daily, and that's fine. Where are you hiding yourself? Energetically? Where are you hiding yourself physically? Spiritually? When it comes to how you express your sensuality and sexuality. This is important because here's the thing that I learned. Because I was so focused on hiding, and it had become so ingrained in me, so layered and deep down, even 2 decades later, I still find pieces. Because healing is never one and done. Healing is multifaceted and multi-layered. You heal it in one way, and it may be great for years. And then as you deepen your relationship with yourself, as you experience life, you realize, oh, there's a piece that needs working on, right? And so as you're thinking about those questions I just asked you, I want you to see, if you can, where there's a pattern in your life that because you hide yourself, you miss out on opportunities. Because you hide yourself, it adds extra weight to you and it feels exhausting. Because that's what I realized for me. Let me just be honest. It was fucking exhausting. It became exhausting always having to think about, how do these pants fit my butt? Because see, I'm curvy. I got butt, thighs, and boobs. And hips. Okay? I'm thick and juicy. And I was always thinking through, okay, I don't want to accentuate my butt too big because I'm about to walk into a church or I'm about to walk into a meeting. I don't want to accentuate my shape because I'm about to be around somebody that's married and I don't want them to think anything. I was always analyzing, thinking ahead, trying to be proactive to reduce my attractiveness or reduce my appearance, reduce my sexiness, if you will. Listen, that was energy that I could have been using to manifest so much other shit through the years. Can I just be honest about that for a minute? And so I started saying, fuck that. Because no, it is not my job as a woman. It is not my job to reduce myself in order for anybody else to feel comfortable, man or woman. Because I was also doing it for women, right? I didn't want women to think I was trying to be too sexy because they were maybe not as thick as me, or maybe didn't have the same curves I had, or maybe they were more demure and restrained, right? So I didn't want them to feel like I was doing too much or trying to be too exposing. And I've never been one to just have all my goodies out, but I love a good sundress and some sandals, right? Or some jeans and a cute top and some sandals. And I got curves. So unless it's all loose and baggy, you gonna see them. And I just finally realized, y'all, that this ain't no way to live for me. I don't like it. This is not who I am. And I'm not thriving. And so I took time to really just start looking through my life and see experiences I had missed out on. Because I was paying so much attention to not trying to be too big that I wasn't fully present. Or I didn't go because I didn't want anybody to be uncomfortable, or I didn't want to be uncomfortable. So I called all of my energy back. Now that's a conversation for another day. If you don't know how to do that, just pop it in the comments and let me know, and I'm happy to do a video on that. But I took time to start calling all of my energy back, to start filling myself back up, to nourish myself. I did a lot of energy and womb healing on myself, to repair myself, to restore myself and replenish myself, to rejuvenate myself. Because I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be half living anymore. Now, how this ties into manifestation is because what I realized is all that energy that I was expending in that mindset, trying to think that way, live that way, was taking away from the energy that I could have been using to nourish the things I wanted, experiences I wanted to call in, loving myself, honoring myself, respecting myself, how I feel about myself, because it constantly affected my self-confidence. Always worrying about how somebody would judge me or see me or treat me based on my shape, based on how I look physically. And when I started to just be more intentional about focusing on me, how I felt, what I needed, baby, everything changed. Let me say that again. Everything changed. Woo, my God, today. I am so serious though. It was like I literally became a whole different person. I started to feel better in my body. I started to have more energy physically and not feel so exhausted all the time, because it really does take a lot of mental energy to hide yourself. I want you to think about that for a minute. Whatever you're giving energy to, that's what you feed. That's what becomes the big thing. That's what you feel. That becomes present. And so, because I was now giving that energy to myself to show up, I felt it differently. I literally began to feel revitalized and replenished. I had more energy physically to go through my day and not feel so tired and exhausted. I was more confident in myself and more confident in myself. And other people started to respond to me differently. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't asshats out there, because there are. But I began to attract more safe people, because I stood in the energy of, I am safe. I will not live my life trying to protect myself from people that are predators. I will live my life trusting that I am safe, trusting that I am protected. And of course, I did things, to reinforce that. I took self-defense classes. I have always been mindful about who I'm around. That didn't change. But I began to see them differently and choose to recognize that they were safe, right? And that they wouldn't put me in harm's way and would protect me if harm ever came. And so that's the space that I exist in. And like I said, I've done this work over 20 years. I've had to experiment with it. I've had to figure out what felt right and what didn't. I've had to call things in and let things go. I've seen people leave my life and new people come in. Relationships shifted because I shifted. Because when you feel differently about yourself, you call in a different quality of people in your life. So instead of having a whole bunch of women around me that judged me for my shape and made jokes, oh girl, I'm just being funny, but the shit wasn't funny, right? I started to call in women that honored me for my shape. Girl, you are gorgeous. You are absolutely beautiful. Girl, I wish I had a shape like yours. Listen, help me work out because I want a butt like that, right? They really began to affirm me and pour into me and hype me up and elevate me. And it don't matter what I got on now. They're going to be like, girl, you better bring that sexy back, right? Because they genuinely love me and honor me because I honor myself. The men in my life, whether it's my man or a big bro, brother type friend, they honor me. They always let me know, if you safe, Jay, I got you. It don't matter whether I'm in the barbershop full of guys or, wherever I am. The people around me always let me know they got me. And so that lent itself to me being able to lean into expressing my sensuality in the ways that made sense. Because I'm a whole vixen. I had to realize that. But I'm not a vixen because of how I dress or how I talk. It's simply the energy that I operate in. I'm an enchantress. I had to acknowledge that. Now, if you aren't sure what those two things are, again, conversation for another day. Let me know in the comments and we could talk about it in another video. But when I really began to honor that about myself and recognize it was naturally me, it was naturally a part of my self-expression, that my sensuality was a natural energy that I operated in. And I started to just embrace it and get comfortable with it, baby. It don't matter whether I'm out on the walking trail and got my little sweat onesie on because I love them. Listen, I'm going to be comfortable, okay? Gonna be comfortable. It don't matter whether I got leggings on or a sundress or jeans. If I'm professionally dressed or comfortably dressed, doesn't matter. I exude sensuality. I exude femininity. And I didn't understand that for a long time because I was so focused on hiding. I couldn't see how it was a natural part of who I was. So I was literally fighting myself. And this matters in manifestation, because in order to truly manifest, you've got to feel safe. Now, you can manifest in any state of being. The challenge is going to be, can you keep what you work so hard to get? The more safe you feel in your body, the more comfortable you feel in your body, the more you accept yourself and honor yourself and acknowledge yourself as you are and allow that to flow, it becomes easier to not only manifest, to curate, to create intentionally. It becomes easier to sustain it, to keep it, to maintain it in your life. Whether it's love, money, job, whatever. You can work your ass off to get it, but if you are not congruent with yourself, you're going to be fighting yourself constantly, and you're not going to be able to hold on to it. This is why so many times you have that up, down roller coaster experience. You worked your butt off. You got the thing. You called in that man. You called in that woman. You got that job. You got that pay increase or whatever. But then you're so stressed out and you're so overwhelmed. You find yourself saying, I don't even want this shit no more. Take it. Get rid of it. You're breaking up with them. They're breaking up with you. You're getting fired, or you hate your job and you're quitting. You get all the money, but then all the bills come that showed up out of nowhere and you lose it. You got to spend it, whatever. That happens because you are not in congruence with yourself. You're not feeling safe within yourself. You're not trusting yourself. And us as women, our sensuality, our expression of that in our femininity, and in our feminine energy, divine feminine, or whatever you want to call it, that matters. Now, that's a whole different discussion too. Divine feminine, masculine, and all of that. Some people get way, way more spiritual than me on that. And we could talk about that another day too. Let me know in the comments. But for now, I simply want to say that I believe we're all masculine and feminine energy, every single person. And it's about balance. It's about healthy balance, ebb and flow of what you express as needed based on the context and the situation that you're in, or the experience that you're cultivating. But you're typically going to operate in one more readily, right? So for me, because of how I grew up, I was more readily in my masculine energy, protection mode, fight mode, beast mode all the time. So it took work for me to figure out how to soften up, loosen up, take a deep breath and let it out, right? Not have my ass clenched all the time, unclench my pearls, right? And just relax in the moment of life. It took time for me to learn myself, to get comfortable figuring out who I was, recognizing, what I have to receive in this world, what I have to contribute in this world, how I want to show up, all those things. And as I did, it became easier to then allow myself to rest in the natural ebb and flow of my energy. So there are times when I'm still going to show up more masculine energy focused, because that's what's needed to handle whatever situation. And most times now I'm in my feminine. I'm allowing myself to receive. I'm allowing myself to rest and be still. I'm allowing myself to slow down. I don't force things as much. I'm not in fight mode or protection mode all the time. I just get to relax and let my guard down and enjoy life. And that's what I want for you. That is the place where your nervous system settles. That is the place where your peace becomes unshakable. That is the place where your self-trust is steady and focused. That is the place where you're no longer self-reliant only and hyper-independent, and you get to trust other people to allow them to show up for you as well. And that, my friends, is the place where manifesting becomes easier. It becomes a natural part of your day because you're talking about the things you desire. You're welcoming them in. You're opening up to them. You're becoming the version of you that already has them and inviting them into the space that you exist in now. Shortening the distance between here and there and allowing it to become. So we'll continue this conversation in next week's video. But for today, I just want you to sit with that and ask yourself the questions and see what comes up for you. And whatever your answers are, be gentle, be kind, be compassionate with yourself, because we're all still learning every single day. And I also challenge you to figure out how can you allow your sensuality to show up in whatever ways make sense for you. Because it's not about how you dress. That can accentuate it. But sensuality is an energy. Femininity is an energy. It's a state of being. What does that look like for you? And if you need help to go deeper into that, I got you, babes. Go ahead and look at the information up under the video. Check it out. Join us in the Soul Nourishing Mentorship. And make sure you hit all of those buttons. Like and subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified. Because I know I've got more goodness to share and it's going to help make a difference for you. I love you all. See you next time.